Hello, my friends. Welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Fiona, and today we're going to learn another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. These expressions are super useful, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what they mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. So grab a notebook if you want to take some notes, get comfortable, and let's dive right in. Number 1, lay down the law. This is an idiom, and it means to establish rules or tell someone very clearly what they must do. When someone lays down the law, they're being firm and serious about rules or expectations. It's like being the boss and making sure everyone knows what's allowed and what's not allowed. You'll hear this expression when parents are talking to their children, when bosses are setting workplace rules, or anytime someone needs to be very clear and strict about boundaries. For example, imagine a mother talking to her teenage son who's been coming home late every night. She might say, "Listen, I need to lay down the law here. You have to be home by 10 p.m. on school nights, no exceptions." She's being very clear and firm about the rule. Here's another one. Picture a new manager starting at a company where employees have been showing up late and not following the dress code. The manager might tell the team, "I'm going to lay down the law about our office policies. Everyone needs to be here by 9 a.m. sharp and dress professionally every day." Number 2, don't sweat the small stuff. This is a really popular phrase that means don't worry about little problems or minor details. When someone says, "Don't sweat the small stuff," they're telling you to focus on what's really important and not stress about things that don't really matter in the big picture. This phrase is perfect for encouraging someone who's getting upset or anxious about something relatively unimportant. For example, let's say your friend is really stressed because she spilled coffee on her shirt right before a job interview. You might comfort her by saying, "Hey, don't sweat the small stuff. You can wash the stain out later, and I'm sure they won't even notice. You're going to do great in that interview." You might hear something like this at work too. Imagine your coworker is panicking because the presentation slides have a small typo. You could say, "Don't sweat the small stuff. The content is excellent, and one tiny typo won't matter to anyone." Number 3, more than you can imagine. This is a phrase we use to emphasize that something is much bigger, better, worse, or more intense than someone might think. It's a way to show that the reality goes far beyond what someone expects. We use this expression when we want to really emphasize how extreme or significant something is. For example, if someone asks you about your recent trip to Paris, you might say, "Oh my goodness, it was more beautiful than you can imagine. The architecture, the food, the people, everything was just incredible." You're telling them that Paris exceeded all possible expectations. People often say something like this when describing a difficult experience too. If a friend asks about your first week at a new demanding job, you might respond, "It was challenging, more than you can imagine. I worked 12-hour days and had to learn so many new systems, but I'm getting the hang of it now." Number 4, you missed out on the opportunity. This is a sentence that means someone didn't take advantage of a good chance when it was available. When we say someone missed out, we mean they lost their chance to do something or get something good. This expression often carries a feeling of regret or disappointment about not acting when the time was right. For example, imagine your friend was offered a really good job last month, but he took too long to decide, and the company hired someone else. You might say to him, "I'm sorry, but you missed out on the opportunity." They needed an answer quickly, and when you didn't respond, they moved on to the next candidate. Here's another one. Let's say there was a concert by your favorite band, but the tickets sold out while your friend was still thinking about whether to buy them. Later, when she's complaining about wanting to go, you might say, "Unfortunately, you missed out on the opportunity. The tickets were available for a whole week, but now they're completely sold out." Number 5, you can't miss it. This phrase means something is very easy to find or notice. We usually say this when we're giving someone directions or telling them about something that's very obvious or prominent. This expression is super helpful when you're helping someone locate a place or identify something specific. For example, if someone asks you how to find the new coffee shop downtown, you might give them directions like this. Just walk down Main Street for 2 blocks and look for the bright red building with the huge coffee cup sign. You can't miss it. You're assuring them that it's so obvious they won't have trouble finding it. You might hear something like this when someone is describing a person. You're meeting Sarah at the airport. She's tall with bright blonde hair and she'll be wearing a purple jacket. Trust me, you can't miss it. She really stands out in a crowd. Now, before we continue with the rest of our expressions, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're finding this lesson helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to American Lingo Academy. We post new English lessons every single day to help you speak more naturally and confidently. Your support really means the world to us, and it helps other English learners find these videos too. Number 6, surreal. This is an adjective that describes something that feels strange, dreamlike, or hard to believe. When something is surreal, it's so unusual or amazing that it almost doesn't feel real. We use this word when we experience something that's beyond our normal reality or expectations. For example, imagine you meet your favorite celebrity unexpectedly at a grocery store, and they're super friendly and talk with you for 10 minutes. Later, when you're telling your friends about it, you might say, "It was completely surreal. I couldn't believe I was actually having a normal conversation with someone I've admired for years. It felt like I was in a dream." People often say something like this about major life events. If someone just graduated from medical school after years of hard work, they might tell you, "Walking across that stage and receiving my diploma was surreal. After all those years of studying and stress, I finally made it. It still doesn't feel real." Number 7, why are you being so negative? This is a question we ask when someone is focusing too much on problems, complaints, or bad things. It's a way to point out that someone's attitude is bringing down the mood or being unhelpful. We typically use this question when we want someone to be more positive or when their negativity is affecting others. For example, let's say you and your friend are planning a weekend trip and you're excitedly talking about all the fun activities you could do. But your friend keeps saying things like, "What if it rains? What if the hotel is terrible? What if we run out of money?" You might finally ask, "Why are you being so negative? Let's focus on all the great things we're going to do instead of worrying about everything that could go wrong." Here's another one. Imagine you're at work and your team just found out about a new project. While everyone else is discussing ideas and getting excited, one coworker keeps saying it's too difficult and will probably fail. A teammate might ask, "Why are you being so negative? We haven't even started yet. Let's at least give it a chance before we assume the worst." Number 8, why would I do that? This is a rhetorical question that expresses confusion or disagreement with a suggestion. When someone asks, "Why would I do that?" they're usually indicating that the suggested action doesn't make sense to them or goes against their preferences. We use this question to show that we think a suggestion is illogical, unnecessary, or not in our best interest. For example, let's say your friend suggests that you should quit your stable job to start a risky business without any savings or business plan. You might respond, "Why would I do that? I have bills to pay and no backup plan. I'd rather keep my job and maybe start a side business first." You might hear something like this in everyday situations too. If someone suggests you should drive across town during rush hour when you could just order what you need online, you might say, "Why would I do that? It'll take me 2 hours in traffic when I can get the same thing delivered to my house in 30 minutes. Number 9, I'll be there ASAP. ASAP stands for as soon as possible, and this phrase means you'll arrive or do something at the earliest possible time. It's a quick way to promise that you'll act fast. This expression is very common in both casual and professional situations when time is important. For example, imagine your friend calls you and says her car broke down on the highway and she needs help. You might tell her, "Don't worry, I'll be there ASAP. Just stay safe and I'll leave right now." You're promising to help her as quickly as you can. People often say this in work situations too. If your boss sends you an urgent email about a problem that needs immediate attention, you might reply, "I see the issue. I'll be there ASAP to fix it." You're letting them know you'll handle it right away. Number 10, if that's the case. This is a phrase we use to respond to new information and suggest what should happen based on that information. It's like saying, "If what you just told me is true, then." We use this expression when we want to make a logical connection between information we just received and a conclusion or action. For example, let's say your friend tells you that the restaurant you plan to go to tonight is closed for renovations. You might respond, "Oh no. Well, if that's the case, let's try that new Italian place instead. I heard they have great pasta." You're adjusting your plans based on the new information. Here's another one. Imagine you're planning to have a picnic in the park, but someone tells you the weather forecast shows rain all afternoon. You might say, "If that's the case, maybe we should move the picnic indoors or reschedule for tomorrow when it's supposed to be sunny." And there you have it, my friends. 10 more useful expressions that you'll hear native English speakers using all the time. Remember, the key to mastering these phrases is to practice using them in your own conversations. Try to use 1 or 2 of them this week, and you'll be surprised how natural they start to feel. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson. If you enjoyed learning these expressions, please give this video a like, share it with other English learners, and don't forget to subscribe because we post new videos every single day. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these expressions do you think you'll use first? Keep practicing, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.